The 2023-2024 season has been absolutely insane. There's been some big names who have exploded onto the scene, some players who have flopped, some transfers that have hit the mark, and I'm going to give you a list of my 5 players who I think that honestly are some of the best young players in the world. Keep an eye out for all these guys, really. I think all these guys are having really good seasons. I think that they can grow into incredibly good players, and I'll give you a quick little introduction to them if you're not familiar so far. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, like the video if you enjoy it, and comment down below who is your best young player of the 23-24 season so far. So this guy's kind of an honorable mention. Archie Gray, number 22 for Leeds United. You might be like, well, this guy's only in the championship, But look at this real quick. In the championship, he has 16 appearances. That's 84% of their minutes in the championship. Leeds is third currently in the championship as well. And he's honestly getting a ton of minutes. 1,280 minutes across 16 games. That's around some like 80 minutes a game, I think. That is very impressive for a 17-year-old. He's only an honorable mention because he's in the championship, but he's a player who I think that, has popped up in the rumors for some teams. Let's see. Not any on Transfermarkt apparently, but I know that there's been some links to the likes of Arsenal, to the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool. We'll see how he develops with Leeds. No pressure. He's only 17, so it's like, one of those things that I feel like with seasons to come, he'll definitely be at some Premier League team that's in the upper half of the table. One would expect. His contract expires in 2 seasons as well, so not this season, but the season next. So if Leeds goes up, they'll be looking to sign him up to a long-term deal or something because he might move if that's not the case. Moving forward to number 5 on the list, this is an actual player who's playing in the top 5 league and getting very consistent minutes too. It's Javi Guerra. Javi Guerra is getting 89% of the minutes for Valencia. Valencia had a really rough season last year, but this season, they're in 9th place. He's only 20 years old, and he's featuring a lot. Got 3 goals and an assist. Archie Gray, how many goal contributions does he have? None, but it doesn't matter. He's been absolutely bossing it, featuring all the time, so that's why he's on the honorable mentions. But Javi Guerra is here because, he's got 3 goals and an assist in 14 fixtures in La Liga. He's playing for midfield. Honestly, he strikes me as a player that I could see really growing at Valencia. Valencia is a team that, as of right now, if you look at their squad, I mean, quite frankly, it's not really the deepest it's ever been. Jose Guy is there. Besides that, not really many players for them to really draw from here. So is this just their squad? What's going on here? This feels extremely light to be just their squad. This is just their squad. Yeah. Yeah, man. And is he on loan from somewhere, Javi Guerra? Oh no, he left Valencia B. Okay. Regardless, he's a player who, as you can see, is in a squad that really lacks any huge center mid depth. They have some guys, a couple DMs, a few center mids, and literally a couple of attacking mids, a couple of center mids, and a couple of DMs. And their other center mid is injured, so he's going to be getting a lot of game time. It's his position to nail on, and he seems pretty promising. So, very exciting stuff for him. Another shout out to Diego Lopez, who will pull up because he's had a great start to the season as well. 3 goals in 15 matches in all comps, so not too bad. Both of them from Valencia B, I believe. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Diego Lopez, another interesting shout, but he's not number 4. Number 4 is another player who's tearing it up in Spain. A few Spanish league players from La Liga. You have Samu Omorodion. Samu Omorodion joined Deportivo Alaves on loan from Atletico Madrid and has 5 goals in 13 matches in La Liga. He's not really featuring a ton. He's only featuring in about 54% of their minutes, but he's making the most of it. to get 5 goals in 13 matches is pretty impressive for a 19-year-old, but to get it, for a team that, if I'm not mistaken, they are not doing, I mean, they're mid-table. They're 13, so they're not doing too bad. He's definitely helping them out a lot with these goals. And, being that he's on loan from Atletico Madrid, it's a guy that you will surely see for years to come. So remember the name, Samu Omorodion. He is going to be an absolute menace. Another player in La Liga, the final player on the list from La Liga, Fermin Lopez, probably a player that a lot of people are familiar with after his wonderful goal in the Champions League. He performed well in quite a few matches so far this season. He's not featuring a ton either, only 40% of Barca's minutes, but as a 20-year-old in a Barca team, that's a different kind of gravy. It's something to really, behold. And when you're that young playing in that squad, there will be a lot of expectation. But I think this kid is absolutely perfect for Barca. From what I've seen with the eye test, he's an absolutely incredible prospect, and Xavi will be jubilant to have him alongside the likes of Gavi and Pedri. So very good sort of, prospect for Barca. Maybe a little too like for like with Gavi and Pedri, but definitely a player who I think has a lot of potential, really high ceiling too. But yeah, now the second player on the list, it's Warren Zaire-Emery. Warren Zaire-Emery, 17 years old, playing for PSG, featured in 100% of their minutes in the Champions League, only about 77% in Ligue 1, but he's got 2 goals and 5 assists in 15 fixtures as a 17-year-old center mid. That is crazy. Like, that's insane. Like, dude can't even have a beer. He's got 7 assists in 15 matches. That's about a goal contribution every other game as a center mid. That most players in the world will bite your arm off for that. So he's not really unknown. Neither is Fermin Lopez, and neither is this final guy, but I just think that Warren Zaire-Emery has to be on this list. If you don't know who he is by now, you should know, because he's the next big thing for sure coming out of France. And really the next big thing for world football, Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons, if you didn't know him while he was at Barca, PSV, welcome. He's at Leipzig, and he's an absolute beast of a player. He's still only 20. He's already been at so many great clubs. Kind of Kingsley Coman type vibe, I guess, with that, bouncing around some elite level clubs. But let's look at these stats, because these stats are they're wild. Xavi Simons has played 19 matches. He has 6 goals and 8 assists. That's 14 goal contributions in 19 matches. And 3 of these matches also, might I add, he didn't score or assist, and they were just DFB Pokal and Super Cup games. And I understand, the Pokal, it means a lot to people in the Bundesliga, but the Champions League and the Bundesliga are far superior. So to be scoring in those games, in those big, competitions as well, the Bundesliga and the Champions League, to be scoring so consistently, to be playing at this high rate, he was at PSG even, he's only on loan, which is something I forget. That is interesting. Yeah. So he was at PSG, then he went to PSV, and then he went back to PSG with a buyback. Now he's on loan at Leipzig, and he's going to go back to PSG at the end of the loan. So a lot of PSG players here, I guess. Well, the top 2. PSG looking like a really exciting project now. Maybe Mbappe doesn't leave after all. But that's my list. The last 2 kind of feel like cop-outs, so I had to have an honorable mention with Archie Gray in there. So let me know down below in the comments. Comment down below, who is your favorite young player this season so far? Who do you think has made the best start to their season? And who do you think is going to be the biggest star in the future? Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sideline Sedo. Peace.